In this video, you will learn 15 ways to set up your jewelry projects to help you achieve perfect soldering every time. We will discuss soldering blocks, cross-lock tweezers, third hands, titanium clamps, and much more. Let's get started. I'm Greenwood and welcome to my studio. Every soldering job is unique, and you will need to understand what will work best for that particular solder job. I've organized the ways to set up soldering jobs into 5 categories, and I'll show you examples of setups in each category. Let's take a look. The first category is soldering blocks. There are many different types of soldering blocks. I'll show you the types that I use. This is a vermiculite block. It works great for covering your soldering bench and direct soldering flat pieces. The block is soft enough to hold steel pins, which can hold your pieces in position for soldering. This is a ceramic honeycomb block. It has holes in it so you can insert pins. Notice the 2 bent pins holding the forged wire down securely. At the other end, the silver circle uses spring tension to hold onto the forged wire, and the pins hold it in position to be soldered. The charcoal block has been used for many years for soldering. It is great because it reflects the heat back up around your pieces, speeding up the soldering job. I use the charcoal block for making shot and for holding spheres, beads, or shot in place for soldering. You can use a drill bit or burr to carve indentations into the block to hold your pieces in position. Quick tip: wrap your charcoal blocks with binding wire. They won't break as easily. Fire bricks can be used for flat soldering and also to hold your pieces up so you can heat from below. The second category is cross-lock tweezers. The tweezers cross and lock to hold your pieces using spring tension. The most straightforward method for soldering with tweezers is handheld. Lock your piece in the tweezer and place it in position. For more difficult positioning and when you need an extra hand, use a third hand. The third hand has a weighted base with adjustable joints which will hold the tweezer in position. Here are a few setups using the third hand. Quick tip: you will find that the third hand may be a little springy and not hold your piece in position. Lift the third hand up, push down on the tweezer, and replace in position. This will put pressure on the piece and hold it solid. The third hand can also use regular tweezers to hold your pieces so you can solder from below. A multiple third hand is also available using alligator clips. I only use this with very small wires because the clips will lose their spring with excess heat. Quick tip: remember, when you're soldering, the cross-lock tweezers become a heat sink, and that means that they're going to be very hot all the way up the length of the tweezers up to the third hand base. And you're going to want to take your piece out of the cross-lock tweezers to put in the pickle. you're going to grab the cross-lock tweezers, and then you're going to remember this quick tip. Do not grab the cross-lock tweezers with your fingers. Use your other tweezers, slip it onto the cross-locks, squeeze it, drop your piece out of the cross-lock tweezers, pick it up with your copper tongs, and put it in the pickle. The third category is clamps. I've stopped using steel clamps when I learned that titanium can be used for clamps. Titanium can be easily bent and filed into any custom shape. Solder doesn't stick to it, and heat doesn't affect the strength of the clamp, and it doesn't heat sink as much as steel. Check out titanium from your jewelry supplier. It is well worth it. The fourth category is wire binding. Steel and stainless steel binding wires are excellent options for holding difficult shapes for soldering. Here are a few examples using binding wires. Quick tip. After wrapping the binding wire around and twisting closed, use your chain or flat nose pliers and make a small twist in the wire. This will tighten the wire. Use caution so you don't over tighten. The wires can bend or misshape your pieces. Twist the wires with ease. A few more words of caution. Solder can stick to the steel wires, so expect this if the wire crosses a solder joint. You will have to peel off the wire after soldering and file away any excess solder. Also, do not put the steel wires in the pickle. This will copper plate your silver and you'll contaminate your pickle. The fifth category is tripods and trivets. Tripods and trivets are great for elevating your pieces so you can heat from below and not have the soldering blocks heat sink too much heat. The tripod can be used with or without a steel screen. Remember, the screen will be a heat sink, so use a large enough torch or flame to heat it properly. The trivet is a great tool to lift pieces off of the blocks to reduce heat sinking. This one is a titanium trivet. Solder will not stick to it, so it's a big plus. If none of the methods for setups work for your design, here is a trick that could work for you. Make a pile of pumice, charcoal, or fire brick on your soldering block and snuggle your pieces into the pile. This will cradle your work and position it for that perfect soldering job every time. I hope these methods of setting up soldering jobs have given you some ideas to make your jewelry projects easier to solder. Be creative and come up with your own ideas for setups also. I'm Greenwood. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.